Okay then, let's begin. Well, thank you all for joining this information session about Venice International University. It is wonderful to see so many of you connected. So my name is Dr McLaughlin and I manage the academic programs here at Venice International University. So you can see a picture of our campus here on the slide. So this is San Servolo. It is an island in the lagoon of Venice. It's just under 10 minutes by boat from Piazza San Marco, so the city centre. And there, sorry, can you hear me now? Yes, okay. So the island of San Servolo is really central to what Venice International University is, as it had originally been a monastery and then a military hospital and then a psychiatric hospital. And then this place, which has a beautiful park as well, sorry, I have a fly, which has a beautiful park as well, was due to be restored in the 1990s. And the mayor of the city of Venice at the time asked the rectors what suggestions did they have for for a centre of education to return the island to public use. So this is how Venice International University came about, when they decided to experiment with international and transnational education programs for students in universities. So VIU began with 5 members, and now today in 2023 we have 20 member universities from 14 countries. So the purpose of VIU is to create international, transdisciplinary and multicultural experiences in education for both students and professors from our members, with a view to circulating knowledge and ideas and creating opportunities for innovation, and we do this through our joint programs. Today our membership map looks like this. So we have universities in the United States, many in Europe, so beginning in the UK and the University of Exeter, Leuven in Belgium, Bordeaux in France, several in Italy, including of course Tor Vergata, which joined some years ago. And then also in Russia, in Israel, and then across to Asia, we have representation in Korea, in China, and in Japan. And then most recently, Stellenbosch University in South Africa joined Venice International University. So that is our first university representing the Global South. So the broad overview of VIU, our joint activities include academic programs, training and capacity building, research, and dissemination activities. So Venice International University, it is important to understand, is not a full university. We are an association of members, and we organize joint and shared activities on a campus in Venice. Okay, so this is to clarify what VIU is and the purpose of what we do. The globalization program is what we're here to talk about mainly today, because this is the opportunity for students of global governance to take a semester away from your studies in Rome. We have about 130 students every semester arriving in Venice to take this program. Some of them will be studying in local universities. So we have a combination of students who are studying for their degree locally here, or students from other cities in Italy, such as Rome, yourselves, or Milan, and then many of the others that are coming from our member universities in other countries. We have 2 semesters. So the first semester begins in September and continues through to December, and the second semester is from February to June. It is open to both bachelor and master's students, and we typically have more than 20 nationalities represented. This is also reflective of how much universities and education programs have become much more international. I'm sure in your global governance program you already have fellow students from many different countries. So we see this diversity also at VIU. And so it is really this blend of students from different academic backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, at a different level of their education, that really creates a really interesting and a really rich environment for class discussions on the coursework, but also out of class exchanges about your experience. So it is really a transformational international education opportunity here in Venice. Each course is worth 6 ECTS, so a full course load is 5. I'll also mention here on the right of the slide, you'll see information about the summer session. So this is a new opportunity. You can also come to VIU for 1 month, for the month of August, to do 1 course or possibly 2 for credit. Okay, so it's like a mini globalization program. So let's talk about the courses, okay? We have typically about 25 courses on offer each semester, of which you would choose 4 or 5, 5 for a full course load. We have 3 core topics, which means these core topics are offered every semester. So in the top half of this slide, you will always have courses with these titles. So every semester we have a course on History of Venice, Italian Contemporary History through film, Art and Architecture of Renaissance Venice. Then in the Cultures of the World section, Intercultural Communication, Gender Studies, Comparing East and West. Then in Global Challenges, our courses are Identity, Heritage and Globalization, Globalization Ethics, Welfare and Human Rights, and Global Governance for Peace and Security. So let's talk about why we have chosen these courses. So Italy is the country where this program takes place and Venice is the city. So it makes sense to investigate the context of the place that we are living and studying in, okay? Then Cultures of the World. The idea here is to bring the diversity of the student body into the classroom and to have a critical investigation of some of the issues that are being faced in today's world, and so that each student will be able to contribute their individual perspective and have a deep dive into it, also in an academic sense. Okay, so to explore these issues academically, in addition to experiencing them in student life. Global challenges are obviously very topical. They are the grand societal challenges being faced around the world today. But these challenges are going to require solutions that cut across disciplines and that are global. So studying to find solutions to these issues only through one discipline or through the lens of one geographical area will not be adequate in finding innovative solutions to address these challenges. Okay, so the specialization tracks then, we have 6. We have 3 in each semester. So it's important to understand if you were to choose to come to VIU, which specialization tracks would be on offer in which semester. So the first semester means starting in September. So we have Cultural Heritage, Science and Society, and History and Memory. In the second semester, starting in February, Sustainable Development, Cities and Global Change, and Environmental Humanities. Now, these courses will change each year because the courses are taught by professors visiting from our member universities. So, for example, the Science and Society course may be taught by a professor of Boston College, or a History and Memory course may be taught by a professor of Ludwig Maximilians in Munich. Okay, so also the professors are experiencing this transnational opportunity and this orientation in Venice. Let's have a look at some of the course lists for these specialization tracks. So starting in February, I'll give you a chance to have a look at those. So sustainable development is a lot of them are addressing the environmental issues related to sustainable development. So globalization, environment, and sustainable development. Or further on, we have industrialization, environment, and social change in Europe, and so on. Okay. So as you can see, this is a really a topic that is of interest to our professors who apply to come to teach at VIU for a semester. Also because the city of Venice is very significantly impacted, for example, by climate change. You know, we have rising sea levels, we have the issue of rising waters in the lagoon of Venice, and what are the strategies to mitigate these challenges? So our professors are encouraged to take Venice and Italy as a case study to explore the issues in the courses so that it is made really relevant and interesting. It also gives us the chance to do site visits and bring students out of the classroom to explore some of the realities locally. We'll come back to that a little later though. So cities and global change then is a specialization track where we can talk about really many issues that are being faced in urban centres. So more and more humanity is living in urban centres. Global migration is towards urban centres. So what are the dynamics in cities that our society is experiencing? Okay. Then environmental humanities is an emerging field. It's very interesting. It's how research in the humanities can investigate and make sense of environmental issues and the environmental crisis and contribute to framing the discussion or representing perspectives. It's very good in terms of representing how communities are being impacted, for example, by the environmental crisis. You know, so it is deeply about the human experience of these issues. Now, in the other semester, so first semester next year, starting in September, the tracks are on cultural heritage, but really rather more specifically, these courses are connected to management of cultural heritage and digital tools. So we want to give students who have an interest in cultural heritage, cultural patrimony, the arts, and perhaps would enjoy working in that field. We would also like to give them some skills, some professional skills that would complement their humanities education, for example. Then science and society. So how does science impact society and vice versa? Okay. Next year we'll have in fact 2 courses on science communication. This is how can researchers and scholars make a difference to society. So they're doing really important research and work, but how can they get that message out to the community? And then, but not only that, it works 2 ways, but also how can the community engage with academia to become true stakeholders in research that is being done? Okay, history and memory. This is also, it's an emerging field, or rather it's an emerging way of talking about history. And so history as memory. It also means that we can talk about the contemporary using historical practice, historical methodology in research. So some of the examples here are the Venice Biennale, between the legacy of its history and artistic memory practice. So you may know that in Venice there is the Biennale of Contemporary Art and Contemporary Architecture in alternating years. The Contemporary Art Biennale is a really, really significant very important expo of contemporary art. Okay, all of the biggest, the important institutions and cultural institutions and contribute and participate in this very large scale event in Venice every 2 years. So this is a course that will use all of those resources that are being exhibited in the city, and there's a course built around that. Okay. So at VIU, through the courses, you will expand your capacity for critical thinking. You'll do this by studying across disciplines and learning to work in interdisciplinary teams. Okay, and you'll live and study in an intercultural context, and all of this will, we hope, we have experience with our students, means that students become more open to new ideas, and this is often now called also global competence. So the co-curricular activities, also here in this slide, this is a view from the city towards the island there in the background. So it gives you an idea of how close it is. Okay, so I mentioned that we encourage our professors to make use of resources in the city and locally. We actually have a structured program for this. It's called the Meeting Venice Encounters, Investigations and Explorations. So site visits related to the courses, but also some other initiatives that we promote centrally by VIU. There's a plenary workshop, and this will be held this Friday, in fact, here at VIU. And I believe our scientific director, Professor Luca Pes, also does an iteration of this in the Global Governance Program. Is that correct? Do you have an interdisciplinary workshop?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this began here at VIU and then was extended to Tor Vergata. So if you've already experienced it, it would be similar to the Tor Vergata one. The idea is to have a topic, and we have a one-day event where students and professors contribute and have different types of presentations and performances around this topic. So this Friday will be on heritage. Okay, we've had other previous ones have been on dialogue, on gender, and such interesting keywords to create the fertile ground for an interesting exchange on student experience and on different issues that the world is facing. Okay. Then we have weekly meetings among students. It's called the T2B. So again, a topic is chosen and the students and professors are in an informal context meet up and have a conversation about the issue. And then there are some other sporting opportunities and cultural opportunities. Here are some further examples. So we have a global fair during orientation. We invite the student clubs that are active in the city of Venice to come along and meet the students and promote their initiatives. Also the rowing club, the Venice Diplomatic Society, which is a student association that organizes simulation of the European Union in the spring semester. And then, here's a list of the site visits that may be included depending on what the courses are. But so it's also an important opportunity to explore the city of Venice. Venice is obviously, as you know, quite a very touristy destination, but it is also a wonderful city to live in. So we want to help students to explore it and investigate it. It's important to see the relevant cultural sites, but also to gain an understanding of the urban fabric of the city. Okay, the T2B, here are some of the examples of the conversations that, the topical discussions that have been arranged. So physical and mental health, media censorship, ChatGPT, and so on and so on. Okay, so services for students. We try to make things easier, relatively easy for you. during orientation week, we have a welcome session. We have course presentations by the professors, campus tours, orientation in Venice. We assist students in their the procedures for their residency permit, and we organise visits to the local libraries, so the university libraries in the city of Venice. In terms of deadlines and so on, we would typically request that our universities send their nomination list, so any internal selection processes by these dates that you see here. So for the September semester, it would be May 5th. And then we contact the students and give them all the information of how to pre-register. Okay, so this is where the student comes in first. Pre-registration opens from May 2nd for the first semester, and it opens from October 15th for the second semester. Okay, now this is a very open, wide window for pre-registration. It's when we collect all of your contact details and what your degree is, what level you're at, and so on. Registering for courses comes a little bit later. And then to apply for support in finding accommodation in Venice, the deadlines are June 5th for the first semester and November 30th for the second semester. So any of you who are considering coming in February should get online and fill out the pre-registration form. Okay, as far as I understand it, currently, Tor Vergata students can pre-register directly, and then we'll inform the university that you have applied. Check what the procedures are in your global governance program. It may vary within global governance. Okay, maybe we'll ask the office to send an email to clarify that procedure for you. Okay, then the registration for courses opens at these dates that you see on the slide. So students have to list the courses they would like to do. Before they do that, they must consult the timetable, because we have compulsory attendance. It's not possible to register for courses that are scheduled at the same time on a given day. And the system is not automated to prevent that happening. It is the student's responsibility to choose courses that are available in that do not clash on the schedule. Okay. We have a maximum of 25 students per course. So again, trying to make sure that courses are interactive, engaging, they're seminar style courses generally. Okay. If you don't get your first choice of courses, you're given the opportunity to choose alternatives. So grant and scholarship opportunities for students coming to the globalization program. The first one is the Red Scholarship, and it is so called because it stands for Residency, Excellence and Diversity. So students are selected based on their academic excellence. And then diversity, we want to encourage students who are underrepresented in our student body by giving some support. Now, there are 3 scholarships per semester, so it's highly competitive. And the scholarship is 1,700 per semester, which is equivalent to the cost of accommodation. Okay. Then we have an internship program. You can apply for a modest scholarship of €700 to work for work experience in Italian companies, cultural and research organizations. And then we also have the worldwide mobility for research internships, but these are relevant for master's level students. Okay, so you'd have to be doing a thesis for a master's degree in order to apply for those. Then Erasmus Plus Mobility for Studies. After the semester at VIU, you may have the opportunity to apply for an outgoing Erasmus mobility, so traveling to another European country for another semester. Okay, as I know the internships are usually of interest, we prepared an additional slide to give you an idea of what kind of organizations these internships can be in. So the Peggy Guggenheim Collection is one of them. Then Vela SPA, so this is the company, well, the publicly owned company that organises the Carnival of Venice. So you're talking about large-scale municipal events. Then in the City of Venice, the International Relations Office, or the International European Funded Projects Office. Students have enjoyed really good experiences in both of these places in the past. They're often working on supporting the offices that are working on international projects, so communicating, for example, with stakeholders in different countries or partner organizations in different countries, maybe preparing drafts of communications, either newsletters, social media posts, or organizing joint events, and so on and so on. Okay. Then there are some other examples. If you had more of an interest, say, in research, there's the CNR, the Italian National Research Council, and they have different institutes around Italy. So depending on the topic of interest, it may be possible to organise an internship in one of these institutes. I'll skip on there. Now, accommodation. So students in the GP have two options. Well, actually, they have three options. So they can choose to sleep in the dorms on the island, and the cost in a triple or quad is 1,435 for the semester. So for the semester means for 15 weeks, okay? Or 1,650 in a double, or 1,925 in a single, okay? There are limited singles available, okay? And then place in the apartments in the city costs, in a double room, costs 1,750. There may be some singles available also in the apartments. So there are pros and cons to both options, of course, like in all choices. Living on the island is it's very convenient. It's less expensive generally than the apartment. However, there are not full kitchen facilities. There is a common room where you can prepare some basic food, okay? And then in the city, you'll also have to pay your bills on top of the rent that you see here on the slide. We are able to support about 60 students in finding accommodation in the apartments in a given semester. And then the third option is you can arrange your own accommodation. So you're not obliged to avail of VIU services for accommodation. Now, okay, so that is my introduction to Venice International University. I'd be very pleased to take your questions now. So you can either turn on your mic and speak, or you can write in the chat. And we've got a wonderful turnout here. We have 78 people online, which is fantastic. Now, let's leave this slide up to give you more of an idea about the courses. Yeah, so I mentioned there, talking about the accommodation, that it's a 15-week semester. This is broken down into, in that 15 weeks, you'll have 12 weeks of teaching, because the first week is orientation. And you have 1 week for a midterm break, and then 1 week for exam week. So it's 12 weeks of teaching plus those three. Any questions? Maybe somebody would like to share with us, where are you thinking of going? Where are you thinking of going away for your semester? You can write it in the chat. What are your options? No takers. And do you find the opportunity in Venice of interest? Maybe we can do a quick hands up of who will consider it. Very quiet.
I think I speak for all Italians when I say that, for example, when we look at semesters abroad, we look at semesters outside of Italy. So it's not really convenient for Italian students to, at least I speak for what I know. I mean, I think on my CV, it has more relevance semester outside of Italy rather than another semester in Italy. So.
Sure. I completely understand your perspective. We have had students from Tor Vergata before, both Italian students and non-Italian students. And some have had already experienced study abroad opportunities in the past. And VIU is a little different, because it is truly a global experience. Bringing together students and professors from so many different places in the world and having this shared experience here is truly unique. Okay, so I do appreciate that it is moving from one Italian city to another, but it is a very different experience. It's not a full immersion program in another Italian university. It's a special program with a true added value. Okay, so I wouldn't underestimate that. Then perhaps we can get you in touch with some students who have done the program in the past and to get some feedback from them. Then in terms of your CV, we're seeing from our alumni that the interdisciplinary context is increasingly being highly valued. And the intercultural, of course, that's a given, but I believe you're already in quite an intercultural program. So, but to give you some encouragement in that aspect, it is increasingly being appreciated by employers. Perhaps more the employers outside of Italy. Italy may be a little bit behind in placing a higher value on this. Because it does mean that you're able to work more in teams and be more open-minded and more innovative in finding solutions to issues. Okay, well listen, I would encourage you to have a look at our website. You'll find descriptions of courses and lots of other information, and you can get in touch with us if writing to actually I'll put it in the chat. You can write to Student Services if you want to receive any further information. Now, and then our website. Okay, something I didn't say explicitly, but I believe you have been informed, is that you pay no fees to VIU. You'd have to continue your fees to Tor Vergata. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here this evening, and hopefully we'll see some of you here at VIU next year. Goodbye.
Goodbye, thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Right, ok. Grazie mille. Allora io smetto di registrare, è stata gentilissima per la sua disponibilità e spero di vederla al più presto.
Grazie mille.
Grazie, arrivederci, grazie.